Lego City has been taken over by zombies, so our survivors had to move up on the rooftops where they built their new homes. But there are even more dangers out in the world, and today we're facing them head on. This video is sponsored by Rossi, but more on that later. Today we're continuing on our Lego Zombie Apocalypse City, set after the president dropped the bomb on Lego City. We're retaking the wasteland and rebuilding the city again. This is what we have so far. So in this video, we're finishing what we started. So far, this already looks really cool. But we need to improve it and we need to finish it because it's only halfway done. But first of all, I need to move this Lego City into another room because I think this room looks messy and I talked about it last time. We need to change the room. So this will be our new cool display room where we even have a Fallout poster. And this is what we've got so far. But enough about what we got. Let's build a new house. Let's build the bookstore. My plan is to place the bookstore right here. And it will be inspired by The Last of Us. I want to lay a foundation first so we can get the house a bit elevated. I want to work with dark green and that cool yellow orange. That would make for a great color combination. Let's call this bookstore Race Occult Books. I really think this build needs an interior, so let's add some abandoned bookshelves, some other furniture, and a spider on the counter. Let's also add some leaves and make it look really abandoned. I want there to be a big hole in the wall so that we can see into the bookstore. It's a really great way to show that interior without having to have the building open. Let's also add some tiles outside and some more details like trash cans. Let's add a second floor, and this one we're gonna switch up the color and we're gonna add some windows because this will be an apartment. I love to work with those AC units and details on the house. I want this house to look like one of the modular building sets. You know, the ones that you can get the Parisian restaurant or the green grocer. I want it to fit with those and have that vibe, but be a bit more detailed and have my own style to it. Let's add another AC unit, finish those walls. Let's go for one more floor. Let's make it look the same way, but have a different interior and a bit different destruction to the walls. Let's add another AC unit and work on some interior for this one. I want there to be a survivor in this room. Maybe a guy that's hanging out there and has been living there for a while. I think that would look really cool. Let's make this place look like he temporarily lives here, so he's been staying here for a night or two. Race Occult Books have seen better days. I'm very happy with the color scheme of this build. It looks really nice. The colors really complement each other. Let's take a closer look on what's actually going on in this build. We have a billboard on the roof that announces a new book. We have some graffiti on the wall, and almost every window seemed to be boarded up. This place got it bad before the apocalypse. This guy, he's still doing his job, but it looks pretty abandoned. Looks like he had some kind of D&D event before everything went to shit. He's still sitting behind that counter waiting for a customer, and here we have one. A zombie. Probably not the customer he wanted. We have a one-bedroom apartment up here on the second floor. This is a pretty sad place. It looks a bit luxurious though. Let's take a look at the top floor where we have our guy grilling a fish. And it looks like he's staying there for one night or maybe two. He's just passing by. He's probably trying to get to the big settlement in the city. And that's our bookstore. I'm very happy with this build. This video is sponsored by Rossi, and I just got a big package in the mail. Let's talk a bit about that. So I sit a lot in life. And when I'm building Lego or when I play video games, I always sit and my posture isn't great. Thankfully, Rossi stepped up and they deal with this problem. And they sent me this really cool custom chair with my logo embroidered onto the back. This looks so cool and I love having my logo on a chair. They design ergonomic hybrids of office and gaming chairs. And I gotta tell you, these chairs, they are nice. I got the one with the super soft material and it's just very comfortable. The chair is very adjustable, so I can have it while I work or I can have it while I play video games. You can just adjust it to whatever you're gonna do. They also sent me a footrest, a headset, and a gaming mouse, so I'm very happy with this sponsorship. Use my code V.P.L.O to get 10% off your next purchase, and check them out in the link in the description. Hey, let's move on to another build. This one is an actual Lego set. It's called Assembly Square, and it's one of those modular buildings that I was talking about earlier. This has a European style to it. I don't have time to build this, so I'm actually gonna let my girlfriend build it. This is a really cool set, so I wanted to build it, but I didn't have time because this project is getting out of hand. I'm doing a lot of different things and there was a lot to do. This set includes 3 houses in one, which is really cool, and every house has 3 floors, so there's a lot to build. After 6 hours, she was done. I think this will fit perfect into our Lego Apocalypse City, but we need to rebuild it into an Apocalypse version. I've seen a lot of people rebuild this, so there's a lot of inspiration out there, such as Sugar Bricks version and Lego Magician. They've done great designs, but I'm gonna do my own version. I want to destroy the ground and add some planks to the windows, and that should do it. We're done. That went fast. Well, I sped it up a bit. We have a few survivors over here. They're trying to figure out where they're gonna go, but things are not going their way and the zombies have probably noticed them. Up here on the roof we have a sniper and I think he's aiming for our survivors. I have a concern with modular buildings and that's the walls. They never look great on the outside because they're meant to be connected. So I'm gonna build an extra wall to cover that awful exterior. But this also gives us a chance to play with an alleyway and that's really fun. Let's add a sign and let's add some details. By connecting this to the office that we built in the previous video, we now have one street. That looks very dangerous. This guy got caught by a zombie while doing graffiti. Not a good idea, man. Let's actually start doing something and build something. So I want to sketch up a cool raider camp. Raiders are very common in Fallout and they are the bad guys basically. They take whatever they want and they steal and they do whatever they want. So here we have a junkyard and here I want to build a red rocket, which is very famous for the Fallout franchise. It is a gas station and it will be our main raider base. The idea of this camp is that the raiders took over a junkyard and they built fences around it and they are pretty savage, so they have heads on display, they are building the fence out of scrap from the cars and everything like that. Then we have the red rocket, which is the main building as I said, and this will act as our headquarters for the raiders. This is where they live. The style of this is very 50s, so it looks like a 50s diner, but it's a gas station. I love that aesthetic. We have a lot of difficult things to manage here, so the window here was a bit difficult to build. We have some tile floors, and then we're gonna add this power armor station, which is the yellow station over here. This is where you can fix up and repair your power armor. Let's add a roof and that iconic text that says Red Rocket, and the iconic Red Rocket, of course. This was a lot of fun to build and play with techniques. Let's add some more cars and some more junkyard vibey things. We also need to add a place where they can eat. So here's the kitchen area where they sit and dine with their friends and have a good time. And done. Wow. This place turned out really cool and actually a bit scary. Let's take a look at what's going on. We have this guy jamming on the electric guitar, living his dream life. We have our dinner guests here, eating some kind of blood sausage? Is that Danish sausage or is that... Oh. Guys, I think these might be cannibals.
When you turn up, you're dead. I know you're here.
Alright, so maybe I wouldn't want to go to dinner with these guys, but they seem to have their life figured out. This guy is just chasing a rat with his axe. I hope he doesn't plan on eating it. However, it's better than eating people. This guy is taking some notes in his adventure book. I don't know if I would like to read that diary though. The red rocket looks absolutely wonderful, but there's something on the roof. Oh, this guy has been trapped here for a long time. I'm happy with the design of the fence because we got that homemade look with the junkyard details. You can tell that these guys are raiders by their mohawks and their face paints and the heads on spikes. Over here we have a sign that says Ross the Boss. I guess that's this guy. I would not want to mess with him with his 3 dogs. That's it for the junkyard. I would say that this turned out to be a place where you don't want to live and you would steer clear of this place. Let's move on to some infrastructure. That's very fun, said no one ever, but we're gonna make it fun. Because building destroyed roads, that's one of the biggest parts of building an apocalypse city. Woo! We should take a look at the overpass. It was unlucky to collapse when the bombs dropped, so I'm going for a Fallout-inspired road here. But we need to rebuild it a whole lot more, where it's just collapsing and there's several cars left on it. I want to work with a lot of wedge plates and make it look really destroyed, but also realistic. We want that destruction to look like it's been going on for a few years. So there's moss growing out and there's some plants. I think we can do this. Then we need to add some fences so that people don't fall off the bridge. And let's add that broken off section with some broken rusty rebar. I really like where this is going. Let's finish it off with a few details and connect everything together. It's really coming together. Now let's add those cars that I was talking about. Every overpass seemed to have one of these. It's just directions where to go in the city with a few signs. I want this bridge to look as sketchy as possible. You do not want to walk here, unless you're really brave. An overpass needs an underpass. Let's build that part. I want there to be a road going through under the bridge, and then I want there to be some kind of camp next to it. Working on these destroyed roads really messes with my thumbs. Anyways, let's add some pillars so we can actually make that overpass into an overpass. I found these sandbags. They're not official Lego, but I hope you'll forgive me. Down here, it seems we have two guys in power armor. What are they running from? Oh, a bear. I would be scared too. Yao guys are not to mess with. Under the bridge here next to the road, I want there to be a camp where people actually live. So they will have a few dogs and they will live their best life down here. Well, probably not their best life because they're under a bridge in an apocalypse, but you know what I mean. I like to work with wedge plates. They are great for doing terrain and giving that extra detail to the ground. Let's add a guy with a shopping cart and put everything together. To be honest with you, this part was a bit sketchy because I didn't know if it was gonna hold. There we have it. If I didn't know any better, I would say that this was ripped straight off a Fallout game. This guy has seen some stuff. He's traveled wide and far to get here. Hopefully he won't be disappointed. It looks like there's a Fallout shelter close by. This guy, he didn't make it through the apocalypse. Not everyone does. The bridge is basically exactly how I imagined it. We have a sign to the hospital that's gonna be nearby. We have this guy from Vault 111, which is the main vault in Fallout 4, the video game. Underneath the bridge, there seems to be something else going on. These guys from the Brotherhood of Steel in power armor, they are very scared of this bear, also known as Yao Guai in the Fallout universe. Next to them, well, these people don't have a care in the world. They're just living here with their dogs and having a good time. They probably don't have the best food conditions, however. Maybe they also eat the dog food. But they seem to enjoy good music. They're just hanging out, living there. We have this guy who's coming back with some supplies with a supply run. This shopping cart took 3 attempts to design. It took me a while, but we landed it. Here we have some clothes on a clothing line. They're drying them probably. And they've got a spider friend. I would not want to live there. This build, straight out of Fallout. And I think we should change the name for the video to Fallout City. Then one day, my friend Albin showed up to help me with the city. We got to know each other on Lego Masters, and ever since then, we've been very close friends, and we've been doing a lot of builds together, so he's gonna help out on this video. He also helped me out, figuring out that this isn't gonna work. We need a new design, so I'm gonna move things around, and hopefully we can figure out a better layout for the city. We're just gonna switch the overpass because I think it didn't look good. So back to the drawing board. After a while of sketching and thinking, we had a solution. Now all we had to do was move everything according to the new sketch, and it should work out pretty good. The new idea is to have the overpass not connected to the city, but have the main road go underneath the overpass. Perfect. Now we can take a look at the old sketch versus the new sketch. This is the more improved one, and we've moved some things around. I think this is gonna work out great. Hold up, before we move on, I think there's some things we need to fix from the old video. I have a few buildings that didn't quite get interiors, so let's work on an interior for the office building. This is a really cool office building that looks a bit modern, but also like it fits in the Fallout universe. It has a lot of potential, but we need to fix those interiors because right now it's empty. So let's do something about that. We have a lot of floors to cover, but I'm thinking we should make this into an office where there are chairs and there's meeting rooms and there's board rooms, all those boring things, but I think we can make it look really good. By placing tiles like this, we get the natural destroyed look. Let's also add some tables and chairs to get that board meeting that I was talking about. Another room, and let's make this a bit different, but still a meeting room. We should add some fun things like a vending machine, that's of course out of order, and some other details. The last floor, I'm thinking the boss's office, so this should be a bit more fancy with black furniture, and that's it. You're now looking at the more improved version of our office building. This is our previous version, and this is our new version. I added this long green vine that goes along the building up to the sign, because I think that really shows that nature took over. And these boardrooms, well, people are not sitting there being bored anymore, they are abandoned. Not this floor though, this guy is out looking for some supplies and maybe he found something interesting. He has a really interesting armor made out of a keyboard, maybe he found it at the office. These guys are camping out on the roof, taking some time relaxing from the zombies. I don't know if that fire is a good idea though, they might get some unwanted attention. Overall, we're done with the office building, let's move on. Let's do another quick build before we move on to the big city settlement. This is a parking lot for our burger restaurant. While moving things around, I realized that this spot was completely empty now, so we had to add something. So this will be a parking lot for the burger restaurant that we built in the previous video. And this will basically just be an abandoned parking lot with two guys fixing up their old car. They're out on a mission looking for some supplies and maybe their car broke down. That's it. Finally, the build I've been wanting to do, but also dreading, because this is a really large build. We're gonna build a big city. Starting off with a few houses, this is gonna be an overcrowded city with a lot of houses and a lot of people, because this is our main city. Let's start by adding a doctor and her assistant robot. These guys having a lunch break on the roof. And next to the doctor I want to build an old lady's tea shop, but this house is going to be a bit tilted, so we have to have that plate that can spin on the bottom. I want to build a different variety of houses with an improvised look. To have the city look like it was built from scrap, but also that it's been standing here for a while. Adding a porta potty into a telephone kiosk, I think that's just silly and I love it. Let's add some people to the street, and this is only the first plate out of 4 that will be the same size. So you get the sense of the scale. We're still going for that medieval style, but also Fallout style, Last of Us, Dying Light. There's a lot of inspiration here. Let's add a kitchen area where we have a seafood restaurant with a chef and their secret sauce. Here next to them we have the weapons dealer. I want this to be an olive green so we can have that military look. And let's add some signs and some other details. This building is going to be really cool because I want to place a bus on the roof and then expand even more and add a little house on the roof of the bus and then some satellite dishes. Yeah, you see, this project is getting out of hand. Let's add some figures. There sure are going to be a lot of figures because I want this to be a lively town. This is our main city. Next up, a submarine house. Yeah, of course, it's a Fallout city. It can be whatever you want. Houses can come from literally anything. This part looks like a harbor, and this is also where they're selling fish, so it makes sense. My man is cutting up some fish for the local townsfolk to provide the city with food. I personally don't like fish that much, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. I wonder where they found that fish because there's no water around. Anyway, more houses. This house is a bit taller, sand green with a few scrap parts, and next to it we have this brick house with a tile roof, and we have the farm next to it. It's a very small farm in comparison to the big farm settlement that we build on top of the roof. That's why they have a trading system with the other farm. Let's add another house, but this is an old house from the city that was here before. Add some figures and we're done. Let's put everything together and take a look at how our Lego city is actually looking. I like the look of this. Wow, now that's an apocalypse city if I've ever seen one. It really looks like everyone in town gathered together and built something out of what they could. This place looks really cool. They've improvised everything and they've built things out of things that they found, and they did what they could with the resources that they had. And I like it. This is, to be honest, probably one of the coolest things that I've ever built. It's very inspired by apocalypse-themed games and mostly Fallout, of course, because I keep coming back to that. It's always Fallout, but that's my favorite game, so no complaints there. This one ended up being a combination of Megaton and Diamond City from Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. There's a lot to uncover in this city and a lot to see. I'll actually do another video on the whole city and go through every single detail. Because as I said, there's a lot to see and a lot to uncover. Like this man getting robbed in an alleyway. I feel really bad for him. This guy taking a shower? Well, let's take a look at it in another video. And now, let's put everything together. Putting everything together is always the most interesting part. I'm very excited to see this. And I hope you are too. 2 months later, we have it. We're done. What started off as a zombie apocalypse city has now ended up being a Fallout apocalypse, Dying Light, Left 4 Dead, Last of Us city. I don't even know what it is anymore. But we're done, and we finished this behemoth of a project. Everything from burger restaurants to office buildings to big city settlements that remind us of Diamond City from Fallout 4. 1 by 2 meters big, we reclaimed the wasteland. Well, we didn't, because the zombies are still here, but we're out here living, trying to survive. We're facing raiders, zombies, cannibals, super mutants, everything the wasteland throws at us, we can handle, because now we have our city. If you want a detailed review and a walkthrough of the city, I will post one after this video, so that you can see every single detail and find all the hidden Easter eggs. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoy this project, I certainly did. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. I think I need to fix this, however, I'm not completely done with this part, but that's just a small technicality.
Everything up here is new. I can't stand it, just must land it. Going back to old Yazoo. Everything you do, people got their eyes on you.